Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I wanted to show you what was going on with my waterculture phals. I'm getting some spikes. It's fall, so this is the time of the year that they spike. And this is my Baldwin's kaleidoscope, as you can see. It's spiking there. This is my phal legato. There's a new root and a new spike on this one. And this one I have to give honorable mention to. The roots just keep growing on this miniature. So I had to go and buy a tall vase for this miniature. I can't wait until this one blooms. It's going to be spectacular. I was asked recently why I like growing my orchids in waterculture. So I thought I'd kind of discuss that with you. I love to watch the roots on these orchids grow. I've grown in bark for 13 years, and I've never seen what happens in that bark. So I love watching these roots growing. It's fascinating to me. They're very easy to keep clean when they're in waterculture. If you have a rotting root, you can take care of it right then and then keep an eye on it. Whereas if it's in bark, sometimes you don't even know that you have a rotten root until you get some problems with the plant. So it really does keep your root system very healthy. Also, where I live in East Tennessee, it is difficult for me to find orchid pots for bark. And sometimes when I buy bark, I wonder how old it is. As you know, my phal intensity was in bark, and I repotted it in bark in May, and white flies started hatching out of the bag of bark. So I was not amused. So I went ahead and put this one in waterculture, and that was about 5 months ago. And look at the beautiful roots on this. This has been so much fun to watch grow. And she spiked, bloomed, and now there's a secondary spike. So this is a very happy plant. So obviously I live in an area where orchids do very well in waterculture. And that was another thing I was going to encourage you to do in your part of the world. Seek out people who are growing orchids, especially if they're growing in waterculture, and see if it's a good way for you to grow your orchids. In the southeastern portion of the United States, where I am, that is obviously a really good way to grow your orchids. Another benefit of having your orchids in waterculture is when you go out of town. My family and I love to travel, and so I get a friend of mine to come by while we're out of town and water my houseplants and my orchids that are in bark. If she had to water all of my orchids that are in waterculture and bark, it would take her all day long. So I love the fact that I just top off the water level a little bit higher than I would normally have them before I leave on vacation. And then I can leave for a week. I suspect I could even be gone up to 2 weeks, and they would be just fine. So it really does make it convenient when you're traveling. So I hope those give you some ideas about how you can convert some of your orchids to waterculture. If you decide to go with this method of growing, I would suggest you just start with 1 or 2 orchids. That's what I did. I started with 1 or 2 just to see how they would do in my area, and they thrived. So start with 1 or 2 and then go from there. Also keep in mind that each orchid has its own needs. All of mine do very well in full waterculture. This miniature right here, it really likes semi-waterculture. It likes 5 days water, 2 days dry, or it will mold. So just keep in mind to, keep an eye on your waterculture orchids and make sure that they're happy. Also, the very first month that you have them in waterculture, keep a really big eye on them. If you can make it through that first month, then it's going to be easier for you in the long term. So I hope you have a highly favored, deeply loved, and greatly blessed day. And we'll talk to you next time.